Well, welcome back to Fat Daddy Sports. I am Craig, and if you're new here, hit that like button, drop a comment, and hit subscribe. Today, we are jumping into another mock draft over on Sleeper, but before we begin, let's jump into the random number generator to figure out our slot that we'll be drafting from. We will go ahead and do this 3 times as we always do. So 1, 2, and spot number 3 is where we are moving over to today. So here we are over on Sleeper. We will claim spot number 3. Again, drafting with all bots, so things could get a little skewed here. But a 10-team PPR draft, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, a flex, and 4 bench spots, 6-point passing touchdowns. I think that covers everything, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. We will go ahead and see Bijan and Jameer go off the board 1-2. Not a big surprise to anybody, and I will keep with that trend. I will go ahead and take Jamar Chase. I will hammer that wide receiver position, and I really hope that we get some good running backs back at the end of the second round. That's the one downside of getting one of these positions here, is I don't necessarily always like the running backs that come back to me. But we're sitting here, we are looking at the running backs of Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, and Kyron Williams. Wide receivers of A.J. Brown, George Pickens, Nico Collins, and Malik Neighbors. We could take a tight end here. Both Trey McBride and Brock Bowers are still on the board. But since we are so close to the turn here, we're going to take a chance and hope that at least one of those guys comes back to me. I have a feeling that they'll probably go at the 301, 302, and we won't get a shot at either of them. But we're going to go ahead and get our RB1, a guy who plays for my favorite team and I think is going to be an absolute stud this year. He's going to get all the 3 downs every possession. And that is Kenneth Walker in Kansas City, his new home. They went out and got him this year. And we see Trey McBride go with the very next pick, and A.J. Brown goes at the 210, and the 301 goes Brock Bowers. So we are out on the the tight end position. Here early in the draft, Derrick Henry goes right after that. We're going to take a look at the running backs of Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs. A little early for me to take any of those guys. The wide receiver position, I like George Pickens here. Not somebody that I have a lot of draft capital in usually. Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors. We're going to do something a little different, though, with this draft that we don't normally do ever. And we're going to go ahead and take that quarterback early. We're going to get Josh Allen here at the 303. And we're going to start our draft with Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, and Jamar Chase. Go with that balanced attack. But I usually always wait until round 9 or 10 to take my quarterback. We're going to see how this shakes out. That's the beauty of mock drafts, is you get to explore a little bit and see how your team would look drafting in different ways. So it comes back to me here at the 408, and we immediately will look over at the running backs. I like, Bucky scares me. Cam scares me. Scattaboo. Travis Etienne Jr., I like him a little bit, but I'm not sure at that position. We'll go back to the wide receivers, Lad McConkey, Emeka Egbuka, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson. I love all of those guys there. We're going to go ahead and take a guy in. We're going to go ahead and take Emeka Egbuka. I was thinking I was kind of between him and McConkey, but I'll go with Emeka Egbuka. Obviously has that injury right now. If this was a real draft, I probably would give the slight edge to McConkey just because of that injury. But since this is a fake draft, we will go with Emeka Egbuka as our wide receiver 2. Garrett Wilson, Bucky Irving, Cam Scattaboo, and Travis Etienne all come off of the board right after that. So a run of running backs goes there with Bucky Irving, Cam Scattaboo, and Travis Etienne. We will take a look at the running back position ourselves. We've got David Montgomery, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, all solid RB2 picks. DeAndre Swift is also a good, solid RB2. And then we will look over at the wide receiver position. Lad McConkey, Zay Flowers. I still like those guys. Usually I try to wait, or usually I try to load up on running backs early in the draft. And we're going to keep with that theme of trying to do something different in this draft and see how it works out. So we're going to take Ken Walker in the second round, and then we're going to wait on running back a little bit. We're going to try to load up on some of these wide receivers, and we'll go to a guy who I think could be, a good target hog for the Chargers and somebody that I was going to take with my 4th round pick. We will go with Ladd McConkey. And then maybe on the way back in the 6th round, maybe we'll take our RB2 there. We'll see who's there and who's available, and we'll make our decision at that point. So it gets back to us here at the end of the 6th round, the 608 to be exact, and we are looking at DeAndre Swift, Jadarian Price, Jalen Warren, and Chuba Hubbard. I really like DeAndre Swift as my RB2. We've already got our quarterback. Take a look over at the tight end position really quick. Sam LaPorta is there. Tucker Kraft is there. Harold Fannin is there. I really like all 3 of those guys, and I don't think that they're going to go all 3 in these next 4 picks. So we're going to go ahead and get our RB2 in DeAndre Swift, a very solid player and somebody that I think is going to, you're drafting him at that RB2 position. It scares me a little bit, but I think he's going to return on value, no problem. He may not be a league winner, but he's going to be a consistent guy that you can plug into your lineup every week and get you 12 plus points. And that's really all you can ask for the RB2 position, especially when you have 3 pretty solid wide receivers in Chase, Egbuka, and McConkey. So it comes back to us here in the 703 pick. We are looking at LaPorta, Mike Evans, Tucker Kraft, Carnell Tate, Jadarian Price, and Harold Fannin. Let's go to the tight end position since we don't have that yet. We didn't wait on quarterback this time. We're waiting a little bit on tight end. I like all 3 of these guys, and really even Kyle Pitts if you can get him at the right price. May not go with the tight end there. Let's look at the wide receivers. Evans, Tate, Watson, and Brian Thomas. Don't love any of those guys. I don't love any of these running backs, really. Jadarian Price is an okay pick, but these other 3 guys I'm not going to take if you paid me to take them. So we'll go ahead and go with the tight end position. You've obviously got injury concerns here with LaPorta and Kraft. Harold Fannin doesn't have an injury, but he plays for the Browns. I'm going to go ahead and just load up on the best offense here, and that is the Detroit Lions. Sam LaPorta should get a lot of targets this year, should get back into the end zone. Hopefully that injury is nothing major. He's back out there week 1 or week 2. We'll put our chips there with Sam LaPorta in the 7th round. Take him as our tight end. After that goes Mike Evans, Caleb Williams, Jadarian Price, Dak Prescott, Tucker Kraft, Harold Fannin, Brian Thomas, Kyle Pitts, Carnell Tate, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jalen Warren, and Justin Herbert. So we are set. Look at our team really quick here. We're looking at Josh Allen at the quarterback, Kenneth Walker and DeAndre Swift as running backs, Jamar Chase, Emeka Egbuka at wide receiver, Sam LaPorta, and Ladd McConkey. We are now on to our 4 bench positions, and we are going to just load up on some places here at the running back and wide receiver position. I've talked at length about my feelings on a pick of Chuba Hubbard. I think it's a waste of a pick. RJ Harvey, I'm not a huge believer in. Ramondre Stevenson, he's probably going to be annoyingly involved there in New England, but I still prefer Travion, so I'm going to stay clear of that. Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, I don't love any of those guys. J.K. Dobbins is the RB1 in Denver, should get a lot of looks. We'll see if we end up taking him or not. Look over at the wide receiver position again really quick. You've got Parker Washington, Cortland Sutton, Michael Wilson, and Jordan Tyson. I don't love any of those either. It's getting ugly quick here, and then that's where, when you take that quarterback early, you lose out on loading up on your wide receiver or your running back, and you've kind of got to scramble in these last rounds. You've got to really choose wisely who you're going to pick, how you're going to handle it all. But we're going to take some guys that I think maybe have a little bit of upside. We'll go with a safe pick, and then we'll start picking some higher upside guys that you think may be able to win you the league here in these late rounds. If you just take a guy like Chuba Hubbard, he may give you some value the first couple weeks if he's back from his hamstring injury, but he's not going to win you the league. Whereas if you scroll down just a little bit later and you take his backfield mate in Jonathan Brooks, he has actual league-winning potential, an explosive young running back coming off the knee injuries that he had in college and then early on in his NFL career. He should be, and he appears to be ready to go this year, fully healthy, and there's been a lot of good talk coming out of Carolina about him. A guy like Blake Corum, if you take him, Anything happens to Kyren Williams, Blake Corum is instantly a league winner. Even at the start of the year, I think they're going to be in a 50-50 split, and Corum may have its own standalone value. A guy like Kyle McConkey, if he's healthy and I don't have DeAndre Swift, I look at taking him. I think, anything happens to that backfield and McConkey could be a league winner. We're going to just go ahead and take Jonathan Brooks. We all have those guys that we really, really want on our team, and you've got to be okay taking them earlier than anybody else. And I know if I wait here, there's a chance in a real league that somebody snipes him here with these 4 picks. So I will go ahead and take him in the 8th round. That's probably the earliest that I would ever feel comfortable taking him. Anything earlier than that is a little bit of a risk to me. If you can wait and get him in that 9th or 10th round, great. Anything later than that is an absolute win. But the 8th round is definitely the earliest that I take him. There's a lot of players in that 8th and 9th round range that I feel like are traps, and I usually get to that point in the draft and I feel very, very about everybody on the draft board. So I'm okay reaching for a guy that I have a lot of belief in and think could be a very top player this year. We'll go over to the wide receiver position. Michael Wilson has a pretty safe floor, I think. Jordan Tyson, obviously, if he didn't have those hamstring issues, could be a very big pick. Mekhi Lemon, I think, is a very solid option there, the rookie wide receiver. We'll look at our receivers here, Ja'Marr Chase, Emeka Egbuka, and Ladd McConkey. I like all 3 of those guys. I'm not sure anybody at this point in the draft is going to start over them at any point this year, maybe in the flex position. We'll stick with the running back. We'll go ahead and we'll take J.K. Dobbins. I think Dobbins is a safe bet to put up 10-plus points for you every week. He's going to be a bye-week fill-in for me. He's not going to be a league winner, but at that point in the draft, I'm drafting an RB1, and that's not something you can say about a lot of those other positions there. We just need 2 more bench positions there. We probably could use a wide receiver. We will go with a guy who I have a lot of belief in this year in Washington, signed as their wide receiver 2, and that is Stefon Diggs. We will move him onto our bench. Quentin Johnson is also somebody that I really like this year, but having Ladd McConkey already on my team, I didn't want to have both of those guys. So now we will look at that final position here. None of these wide receivers really jump off the map to me, and I typically like to load up on running backs just because wide receivers are easier to find throughout the season, on the waiver wire, wherever. So we'll go back over here to the running back position. Corey Krosky-Merritt, I really like. He came up injured this week at practice, pulled up on a route. I believe it was a route. Maybe it was a running drill, but I think he was running a route and pulled up injured. We don't know a whole lot about it. Hopefully it's not anything serious. I really like that pick there, but I'm going to just go ahead and take Jordan Mason. He is somebody that I take a lot late in my drafts. I think he's going to have a big, big year for that Minnesota offense that wants to run the ball, that will run the ball a lot more. He's going to get the first crack at it this year, and I think he's going to have a really solid year. So we'll look over at the finished roster here from the 103 position, and it is Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Ja'Marr Chase, Emeka Egbuka, Sam LaPorta, Ladd McConkey, Jonathan Brooks, J.K. Dobbins, Stefon Diggs, and Jordan Mason. The bench has a lot of question marks, but also a ton of upside if all of them hit, even if only a couple of them hit. Stefon Diggs is obviously older, and who knows if he still has it in the tank, but this is a guy that was a 1,000-yard receiver last year for the Patriots. I could see Washington, being in a lot of game scripts where they have to throw it late, and Diggs just being that possession guy for him alongside Terry McLaurin. J.K. Dobbins, when healthy, he's going to produce. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. And then Jonathan Brooks and Jordan Mason have a lot of upside in those somewhat younger. I guess Jordan Mason's a little bit older now, but he's proven that he can do it. Very, very efficient running back. I think both those guys are going to have big years for their respective backfields. But let me know down in the comments what you guys would have done differently. That's all I've got for you today, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. See ya.